All right. Good evening, Saxy. It is going to be a stormy night. Hopefully, nothing too crazy stormy. So, we'll talk about that right now. So, this is the current radar. Rather messy. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson County and part of Hood County and Somerville County. So, that storm is expected to move more due east and northeast, and we'll put that in motion, kind of give you an idea. This storm has had a history of producing, at least on radar, 80-mile-an-hour winds. I think the highest I've seen reported is 65 or 70. I haven't checked it lately. But again, you can kind of see, especially the last couple of radar frames, probably going to be moving south of DFW proper. So that is good. That is the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have in the Metroplex, really North Texas. Definitely hearing more thunder, seeing more lightning in the last couple of minutes, and that will continue to increase as we go through the night. Now, any one of these storms could be severe. Hopefully, they won't be, but we do have an atmosphere that is somewhat unstable even this time of night. And as I said, the only severe thunderstorm warning we have is in Johnson County. May see some more later on, but hopefully not. Hopefully it'll just be. I don't want to be up all night hearing lightning and thunder, but it's something that we might hear some of that anyway. So let's just go over specifics on graphics on what we have. And if I can get let's try this here. Yeah, all right, so we'll move over. There we go. Okay, so again, this is kind of an overall look at the potential for severe storms in the Brown. Again, right now, the only severe thunderstorm warning we have is for Johnson County, but that gives you kind of an idea. Pretty much anywhere DFW Northwest, we would see the greatest severe weather, and that's what we have seen, for most of the day, and even the big old hail out in West Texas. Luckily, that's not really going to be the case for us. All right, so this is the current severe thunderstorm watch. It's in effect until 4 a.m. I hope we're not all up all night. I don't think we will be, but that they're expecting this round of storms to come in and probably some storms behind it. And I'll show you that in a second. So a couple tornadoes possible, but that's not really the situation we have. So I wouldn't worry about that. Again, is it possible? Yes, but probably not. Hail, in this graphic, they talk about up to tennis ball size. Those would be individual storms. I don't see that in these storms currently, because as storms cluster, like these have clustered, then that's always good. Whenever you see storms cluster together, that tends to bring the hail size down. Now, wind up to 70 miles an hour, like I said, with that storm in Johnson County, has had a history of producing 70-mile-an-hour winds. And so that's probably our most likely severe weather threat out of the three. Probably not going to see tornadoes. Hail, hopefully, will be more of the pocket change size, as they say. And then, then strong winds will probably be our biggest threat. Hello, Margaret. Here, thunder, still no rain. Yes. So, not really any rain in Dallas, certainly not the eastern half of Dallas County, or there's a storm up in McKinney. But you will see some rain here pretty soon, Margaret, so don't worry about that. All right, so let's make sure I can advance this. There we go. So again, the overall threat, the worst threat's northwest of us. Tornado threat, again, I wouldn't worry about that, 2% chance. That is the hail threat. Again, most of that's going to be west of us, as we've already seen. And now, again, though, the one thing that I am a little concerned about is the severe wind threat that we have overnight. Again, 60 miles an hour and greater. We've already seen some reports of that, but hopefully that won't be as widespread as I thought. So I wanted to talk about this because we're all fixing to go to bed, including myself. And so, unfortunately, severe weather does happen at night. And so that's why I kind of came on before I start winding down. Although when it's bad weather, I really never wind down. But you just want to be aware of what's going on before you go to bed. So right now, like I said, we have a severe thunderstorm watch until 4 a.m. So you just want to make sure you're aware of that. We don't have a severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas or Tarrant, Denton, or Collin County, so we don't have that right now. Like I said, that severe storm is south of us. then but that could happen. We could have a warning at night, and so that's something you just want to kind of keep in the back of your mind. I know when we go to sleep, it's hard to keep something in the back of your mind, but it's just something to think about before you go to bed. Now, the important thing is too, you want to have multiple ways to receive warnings. The most common way most people receive a warning now is on their phone. But if you're like me, a weather radio is always a good idea to have that. If you don't have one, they're not very expensive, $30 on Amazon, and it's not dependent upon the cell network. It's it's dependent upon not even dependent upon electricity. It's dependent upon a battery. And so you always want to make sure that you have that as a backup because we're not going to have to worry about big bad tornadoes tonight or anything like that. But in the future, we could be looking at that at night, and that's when you definitely want to have a weather radio. Hello, Debbie. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be on here too. And yes, it was loud. So then the next thing is I talked about the phone. So if you don't know, if you have an iPhone, if you go to settings and notifications, just make sure your emergency alerts are on. Now I know nobody wants to get woken up. Nobody wants their phone going off at the middle of the night. But again, this is only going to go off if the weather service feels like there's a destructive situation going on. Number one, if it's a tornado warning, it's definitely going to go off. Sometimes I don't think we have to worry about flash flood warnings, but flash flood warnings will go off like that because, again, flooding can be deadly. But if it's not a tornado or flooding, it might go off if it's destructive hail. Now, I don't think we're going to see that overnight. But again, that's why you just want to have that setting on to where if one of those string things happen, you don't want to get woken up. And the same thing if you have an Android phone, just make sure you have those notifications on, set to on. And then that way we don't want to have deal with that in the middle of the night, but if we do have to deal with that, then you're going to know what's going on, and more importantly, you're going to have time to take action before things get crazy. All right. So if that's not enough for you, how about let's talk about tomorrow? So probably a rinse and repeat tomorrow. Although I don't think that the storms will be quite as intense as today. We shall see. But again, it's May. It's severe weather season. That's just kind of the way it is. Again, the tornado threat tomorrow is not very great, but the large hail and winds is also a possibility tomorrow afternoon, and we'll kind of deal with that tomorrow. And this is tomorrow's severe weather outlook. Again, level 2 out of 5 west of Dallas Fort Worth. No tornado right now anyway. No tornado threat tomorrow. The hail threat again northwest of us. Again, we'll be watching that tomorrow, and the wind threat's the same thing northwest of us. Okay, so again today or tonight overnight that's kind of the area of the worst, if you will, which actually won't be all that bad, relatively speaking. All right, so let's go back to the radar here and see what's going on. Okay, so we'll put this in motion. And again, we had the one severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson County. So that's the Cleburne area, Burleson, little bit of Mansfield. So if you know people in that area, just if they're not paying attention, just give a little heads up. Nothing to be terribly concerned about, but just want to make sure they're aware that it's going to be quite stormy where they are. Hey Charles, so what time are you thinking about severe weather? Just heard big thunder. Yeah, a lot of people heard that big thunder, Charles. Well, so Charles, you're in the eastern part of the Metroplex, so I would say after 11 o'clock, probably more 11:30-ish your way, so about an hour away. And you can tell, matter of fact, we'll zoom in on this radar here. We'll do a couple things. All right, so it's a little hard to see, but we should be able to do this. So downtown Dallas, here's good old Saxe. Irving, the big airport right there. So we do have a decent storm in Irving, nothing severe. We have these little bitty storms over Allen, Fairview, Princeton. Nothing severe by any means, but so just kind of give you an idea of where the radar presentation is. And at night we get the gray area, the ground clutter, so it's hard to pick out. Sometimes it's hard to pick out where you're at. So if we zoom in and put this in motion, so you can see the general motion is north-northeast, but then you got this bigger storm that's moving more east. And that was a supercell way back when, and those supercells tend to be right movers, and that's why it's went instead of going northeast, it's going east because it moved to the right of northeast. So let's zoom in a little bit here, and so again, if you live anywhere east of 75, probably, I mean, it might be sprinkling where you're at, but the rain showers are increasing a little bit, but this bigger storms will make your way across Dallas County between now and 11:30. Nothing severe. Doesn't mean it couldn't change. That's why you got to be kind of semi-prepared as these storms move through. And then let's focus in on this severe storm downside. So if you're just joining us, this is not Dallas County. This is Johnson County. And, pretty good torrential rain and right over Cleburne. Let's see what else we got going on here from a wind standpoint. Yeah, so we definitely got some wind going on here. So let's figure out let's zoom in here a little bit. Now, again, this is the radar at about 2,000 feet. So this is not necessarily reaching the ground, but it's definitely the real deal. So a lot, you got 73-mile-an-hour winds. This basically is whitish gray area. So that's why they got a severe thunderstorm warning on that storm. And then over here, you got some more high winds, 50, 60 miles an hour. So that's why that storm is warned. I don't know that we have any hail with this. Let's see. No, not really. The red is more. There might be some small hail in there, but again, this storm is not really concerned about hail with this particular storm. More the wind. That is way more the concern with this. And if we go back to the velocity, yeah, I got a little 70-mile-an-hour core. Again, this is the radar beam measures this about 2,000 feet up, so it doesn't necessarily mean that it's that strong winds to surface, but it's probably not far off based on this history of this storm. All right, so let's turn this one off here. All right, so let's maybe a little hail core right there, just north of Cleburne. All right, so let's put this in motion again. See what this storm just east of the airport is doing. Yeah, so these storms are moving northeast. So the most intense storm, which is not severe, looks like it's right over 114 and 35 east split. So let's see. Oops, I don't want that one. Okay, all right, let's put a little tracker on this. Get this to northeast Dallas County. 30 miles an hour. Yeah, so basically that would put it in Richardson about 28 minutes, Garland 33, Murphy 41, Saxby 41. So that's kind of what I was saying. It's being 10:40 now. It's after 11 o'clock, 11:15 on its current track. Now these storms are going to evolve and change, so it's not an exact science when it comes to that. But just kind of give you an idea. And then you are starting to see these area of precipitation getting stronger. And again, that's what we're going to expect most of the night. I don't think that we're going to have a situation that was going to be stormy all night, number one. And number two, we could see some storms get strong, pulse up and down, and become severe. And that's just something that, if that's the case, we just want to make sure that we're staying on top of that. All right, so I'm going to show you kind of cool picture. Now I'm going to refresh this. So this is a satellite picture, and these thunderstorms are just shooting out these anvils all the way up into Kansas, and you can just see how these storms have formed. Now, the one thing I wanted to show you too is that, as you can see, everything is starting to generally move to the east northeast in an overall standpoint. So you're seeing this cloud deck moving east northeast. So that's why I think certainly after 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. Most of the stuff will move out. And I think tomorrow, while it won't necessarily be a repeat of today exactly, I don't think it's going to be a washout by any means, but we do got to be careful because storms could reform again. That is for sure. All right, so let's go back to the radar here. And, whoops, let's see. All right, so I don't see any other comments yet. So let's put this in motion here. And yep, so like I said, things are just starting to ramp up a little bit, which we kind of thought they would. So we'll zoom out here. So the only other thing I would point out is this activity that's to the west of everything. So you got this activity here, southwest of Mineral Wells, out near Breckenridge, out near Cisco, Ranger out that way, Eastland. That is also, we put that in motion and, oh, we got a new warning. All right. So that's going to be the one you see just highlighted there. Listen to my weather radio. Let's see. Yeah, it's okay. So it's for that same storm we talked about. Let's get the details. Yeah. So, oh, you know what? That's not the one I wanted. Let's see. Let's try this. There we go. Yeah, so the hazard they warned it for is 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. They didn't even warn it for hail, so that kind of gives you an idea of the characteristic of the storm. Now, having said that, this storm, this warning is for the southern half of, as far as DFW proper, this warning is for the southern half of Tarrant County, the southern half, not even all of us, but basically the southern half of Dallas County. So I would say anywhere along I-30, I-20, really I-20, well, I-30. Anywhere south of that line is where this warning is going to be. It's where you want to be concerned about high wind. So again, just something that that storm has had a history of. So not surprised that they warned for that storm. All right, so let's go back here. I just want to check on this storm here before we sign off. Let's put velocity on this one. Yeah, that's good. Nothing going on here, so that's not that can't change, but that's the good news. Let's see. Yeah, got some 25-mile-an-hour gust here. So that's nothing too crazy. Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's good. And we'll check the hail sizes real quick, which I don't think it's going to be anything. Nope. Which is not really a concern at this point. All right. All right, we'll put. Let's see if we can get both these storms here. We'll put this in motion, and then we will wrap this update up. So again, this storm with 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts possible. Going to skirt to the south of DFW for the most part, certainly south of I-30, mostly south of I-20. But as you can see, there's development going on in the northern half of Tarrant County and Dallas County, and also Benton County and Collin County. It's just going to be that way the rest of the night, really. I say rest of the night, but it's going to be that way certainly to the first half of the overnight hours, probably till 3 a.m., something like that. Again, I don't know that you're going to be awake that long. It's just that will be some thunder, will be some lightning, and this is something that we're going to have to deal with at least for the first half of the night. Hopefully, you are a good sleep. Oh, you're welcome, Debbie. Yeah, I'm about to go to sleep too. So I appreciate that comment. All right, so I'm just going to put the one slide back up real quick. Do this here. I just want to re-emphasize a couple things before we sign off. Okay, so again, this is the aerial outline of the Severe Thunderstorm Watch until 4 a.m. Yes, technically, could be a tornado or two, could be bigger hail, but mostly it's going to be a wind event. And then if we get to, again, so before you go to bed, make sure you have ways to receive warnings overnight and more specifically on your phone. if you're like me, you got a weather radio, you're good either way. But just make sure that those settings are on where you get the emergency alerts. Again, your phone's not going to go off for a garden variety thing. It's only going to go off if you have a destructive event headed your way. So don't just don't. It's not going to go off because it's raining in you know somewhere in southern Oklahoma. It's not going to do that. So don't worry about that. But anyway, so the bottom line is this, and we'll go back to the radar before we sign off here. Let's do this. Okay, so this is kind of what it's going to look like for a while. And when we go back to the west, you can see some more development. So it's going to look like that for quite a while. But the only severe storm we have right now, which hopefully will stay that way, is basically in Johnson County, Ellis County, southern part of Tarrant County, southern part of Dallas County. And then, that's pretty much all we got right now. And hopefully it will stay that way. All right. Well, that's it for this particular report. I'm watching the weather so you don't have to. I hope everyone has a great evening, get a good night's sleep, and then there's a chance we'll do all this again tomorrow. And then the rest of next week is looking rather rainy and stormy too, but we'll talk about that later because it's about my bedtime and I'm going to bed. Now, I will say this, if I get woken up and it's something that we need to talk about, then I will hop right back on here and tell you what's going on. But hopefully, I won't have to do that. All right. Well, I really appreciate everyone watching, and I'd be remiss. I should always try to do this at the beginning, but I always forget. So I thank you to our sponsors, Bacon Roofing and Amen Plumbing. Y'all are great. Y'all help make this happen. So thank you to those guys. If you need those services, check them out. They're good people, and they help make this broadcast possible. Okay, I'm going to bed because I can't talk anymore. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you, and we will talk to you soon.